Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Sawyer. So let's talk about tonight gut issues, GI problem, because this is maybe one of the most common condition that I see all the time with my patients is because of our poor diet. Of course, we have gut problems, right? Constipations, reflux, bloating, gas, belching. And tonight, let's focus a little bit on inflammation, okay, like IBS, Crohn's disease, for example. So me, I consider these two to be inflammatory condition because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Medical doctors will treat those conditions with like prednisone or some type of steroid. So I came across really an article a little while ago on this condition. And the title of it was high sugar diet can damage the gut, intensifying risk for colitis. So the article was on colitis. So what we need to do to help colitis. So what happened in that study is medical doctors, researchers, fed mice different type of diet, like the regular diet, what they eat. And then they fed the mice with sugar, refined carbohydrates, the one that Americans will eat when they eat junk food, for example. And they saw that the animal models, the mice, developed colitis over time when they were fed sugar and carbohydrates. So I understand that mouse are not really the same as human, but that was a good experiment to do and see what happened when you put an animal on a diet that they're not used to have. For example, sugar. I mean, mice don't eat sugar, right? Like human beings shouldn't eat sugar. So the animal developed colitis over time. So that was really interesting. And this is what I see with people actually is as you eat a diet high in refined sugar and refined carbohydrates, over time you have gut issues. And you may have, like I said, IBS, constipation, diarrhea, Crohn's disease, and so on. So that study didn't really answer how. It didn't look at the mechanism of how sugar can actually cause colitis. So from my experience, colitis can be sugar actually can cause colitis different ways. One is we know that sugar causes deficiencies in the body. Deficiencies of vitamin C, vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, zinc, chromium, and so on. Of course, if you don't have enough minerals and vitamin, your gut could malfunction over time. Could have constipation. For example, I see a lot of people dealing with constipation when they have magnesium deficiencies. And on the other side, people with diarrhea sometimes have potassium deficiencies. So sugar is known to cause those deficiencies. In addition, sugar can actually affect the tightness of the junction in the gut. You know, we have cells. The gut lining is made of different cells, and they are really tight together. If the tightness, the tight junction goes away or is reduced, you have what we call leaky gut. Leaky gut can actually lead to inflammation in the gut. Okay, but my point tonight I wanted to address is about the microbiome. Okay, specifically what we call the mycobiome. Myco stands for yeast, fungi, Candida. In our gut, we have different pathogens, right? We have Candida, like I said, we have bacteria, which is the most common one that people know about. We have parasites, and we have viruses. You may know this, you may not know this. There's 10 times more viruses in the body than bacteria. It's really impressive. And there's more research looking at the virome, which is the flora of the gut that contains viruses. But let's talk about yeast tonight, because this is the main thing that I see with people actually battling with yeast infection, Candida, okay, yeast overgrowth. And sugar is the main driver of yeast overgrowth in the gut. The simple reason of it is yeast, Candida, thrives on sugar. So people who crave sugar is most likely an indication that they have a yeast overgrowth. The yeast needs sugar to survive in the gut. So if you don't eat sugar, your body, the yeast will signal the body to go eat sugar. So it messes up with your appetite, your hunger control in the brain, the hypothalamus. So then you start eating sugar, so leading to even more yeast overgrowth. I see a lot of people coming and they are dealing with yeast, like I said, Candida, and they've tried all kinds of diet, all kinds of different products, herbs and supplements to get rid of the yeast, and they could not do that. The reason of it is they are missing a piece of the puzzle. And that piece of the puzzle is toxins, okay? Heavy metals specifically, like mercury, for example. Mercury that you may actually have in your gut could be coming from vaccines, could be coming from mercury fillings, the silver filling that dentists use. It could be coming from fish, could be coming from different factors, different things. But mercury acts as a magnet for yeast. And this is the thing that I see with people is they never address the heavy metal burden in the gut. So if you have mercury in the gut, there's no way you can get rid of yeast. It's basically impossible because the yeast will take the mercury in, and vice versa. The mercury is a magnet for yeast. So they work together and it stays in your gut. So people take all the anti-candida products or anti-candida diet and cleanse, and they cannot get rid of the yeast, is because they never address mercury specifically, other heavy metal, like I said, the heavy metal burden, and other toxins as well, like pesticide Roundup, also help the yeast to thrive in your gut. And pesticide Roundup specifically, 93% of people have pesticides Roundup in the gut, and it's really, really hard to remove. So you have to use specific products, specific protocol to actually cleanse the gut of pesticides Roundup. So if you handle the Roundup, if you handle the mercury, the yeast is a no-brainer. It's going to go away. So the cleanse, the detox, the products that you guys may use will start working. Of course, you need to address the diet, like the sugar issue. But like I said, it's a vicious cycle. So the yeast makes you crave sugar. And that's why people battle so hard with sugar craving, is they don't really get rid of the yeast. So when the yeast goes away, the craving goes down. And the way to change your diet, eat better, less sugar, more protein, more fat, and so on. So it's really different factors that you need to look at to see and determine how to get rid of the yeast. And this is what we do actually. Clinically, is we look at, okay, do you have a mercury burden in the gut? Do you have a pesticides? How do we need to do that? How do we need to address that? Diet, deficiencies. Again, if you have deficiencies, your body craves, the yeast take over the gut, and so on. So there's many, many different components to a Candida cleanse. It's not just about taking herbs or bioproducts at the store and do it. It's a process, and it takes several months to detox, cleanse the gut, the metals, the toxins, the yeast, the parasite, and then rebuild the gut lining, the gut function using like L-glutamine, for example, and so on. So I hope it makes sense when it comes to Candida cleanse. So if you have any questions, please, you can write a comment, you can let me know. If you have any problem with yeast, I'm here to help you to achieve optimum health for you to start feeling better. Thank you for watching tonight. God bless you.